Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Wyman, and I am PCR's Respite Care and Community Engagement Director. And welcome to PCR's March Virtual Transition Times. I will be your moderator this evening, so please feel free to send any questions or comments in the chat box below. We are delighted to offer this presentation with American Sign Language simultaneous interpretation. We will also be offering this presentation with Spanish simultaneous interpretation. To access the channel in Spanish, click Interpretation in the meeting controls and select the Spanish channel. Participants in a language channel will hear the translated audio and also the original audio at a lower volume. To hear the interpreted language only, click Mute Original Audio. The English and Spanish language versions will be archived on the PCR website Transition Times page. Please share the recording and upcoming Transition Times programs with your friends and others in the community. It is very important to continue to spread the word about Transition Times so we can continue to better serve our community. Just some Zoom tip reminders. We are using the webinar platform. We will wait for questions at the end of the presentation, but feel free to submit any of your questions in the chat box below. Click Show Captions to see the captions for the webinar. You must select the speaking language you would like to show. We are fortunate tonight to have as our presenters Joel Perlman, founder, CEO, and Debbie Perlman of Danny's Plan. Joe Perlman is a lifelong entrepreneur. For 32 years, he and his partner ran Image One, a successful business receiving multiple awards both locally and nationally, including Forbes magazine list of top 25 small businesses in America. Joel and his wife, Debbie, have 3 children, including 23-year-old Danielle. Danny is nonverbal and has autism. More importantly, she has the most amazing sweet nature. While working at Image One, Joel and Debbie documented Danny's life in Word documents stored on their computer. They wanted to make sure that if something happened to them, family or caregivers could step in and understand her everyday needs and the nuisance of caring for her. They found the process unstructured and tedious, and Joel knew there had to be a better way. In 2023, Joel and his new business partner launched Danny's Plan.
Awesome. Melissa, thank you so much. First of all, I just want to start by saying I am super excited to be able to speak to the PCR community today, and love to be surrounded by individuals that kind of get us. We all, most of us have loved ones with special needs, and we understand each other in a way that others can't. So I appreciate you all jumping on today. As Melissa stated, I am married to my lovely wife, Debbie, who happens to be also one of my business partners, and we have 3 children. My Charlie, who's 16, Alexander, who's 20, and then our oldest, Danielle, who was diagnosed with autism when she was 18 months old. At 18 years old, she had her first seizure and she was diagnosed with epilepsy. And about 5 years ago or so, Debbie and I sat down and we really decided that we needed to document Danny's life. All the little things that we have in our heads, the little nuances about Danny that others wouldn't understand or wouldn't know. We wanted to make sure they were documented in the just in case situation that something happens to us, and making sure that the people who are going to take over the care for them, whether it's a friend or a sibling, or maybe even one of your other children, whomever is going to take over, really understands how to take care of Danny in the way that she needs to be taken care of, making sure that she's happy and at peace. Right. And there are little nuances that keep her at peace, things that we only know. And on the other side of it, I think that there's a respect that we also owe to the person who's taking over, the new caregivers, to make sure they're not in chaos, trying to figure out all of the things that we've figured out for the last 23 years and the things that we really understand about Danny. We had a webinar last week, and there was a gentleman on, and he mentioned the fact that his daughter is fine going on vacation, as long as wherever they get has a pool there. And he basically said she wouldn't care if she was in Hawaii or if she was at a Marriott Courtyard in Akron, Ohio, as long as there was a pool. And I know that all of us know these little things have these little stories we could probably all share about our loved ones, little nuances about them. Danny, when she leaves the house, she needs a Starbucks coffee every time she leaves the house. And often when she comes home, don't ask me why, she wants a certain type of nut. And when she comes home, she needs her iPhone charged so that she can listen to her music and play with her games. And if without those things, she would start to get a little feisty and be chaos. But we know these things, so we make sure she gets them, and it keeps her at peace, basically. So again, Debbie and I did create this plan. We did it in a Word document, and the whole time, as Melissa said, we found it to be just a clunky, not great process. And I think it was while I was going through it, kind of the visionary in me, the entrepreneur in me, really realized or thought there has to be a better way to do this, something that could be more useful, not only for Danny, but for our community as a whole, right? Because one thing I know is that I've talked to so many parents, and many of us have the fear of not being around and making sure that our kids are taken care of the way that they need to be taken care of. So we did document it. We documented her likes and her dislikes and her medications and her behaviors and how to handle if she has a seizure. We put it away. And then a few years later, we went to find it. And it was hard to find, but we did find it. And once we did, we looked at it, and Danny was a different person. Her behaviors were different. Her likes were different. Her medications were different. So it almost became this useless document. And that's where it really inspired us to create the Danny Plan. And basically what was created is a centralized hub that helps to consolidate and organize all the information needed to care for your loved ones with special needs. It is simple, it's secure, and it is easy to share. Now, what I'd love to do is a demo for you. But before I do that, I want to do a few quick questions. And feel free to, you don't have to answer the questions in the chat, just in your head, answer these questions basically. And the first question is, if anything happens to you, do you have a detailed plan to make sure whomever is taking over your loved one's care knows exactly how to care for them? Second question. Does your loved one rotate through new caregivers, therapists, doctors, or teachers? And you can think of other people they may rotate through as well. Okay. Last question. Is the information and paperwork about your loved ones organized, easy to find, easy to update, and easy to share? Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to this share, and I'm going to pull up Danny's actual dashboard. So what you're going to see is what it would look like is if you signed in and became a member of the Danny Plan community for your loved one. Give me 1 second here. Sorry. Just taking a second. Okay. All right. Hopefully everybody can see this. If for some reason you can't, please let me know, Melissa. Okay, great. Just going to shrink this here. So this is Danny's actual dashboard right here. And over here, you can see a little picture of Danny. Up here, you can see an intro statement, basically, that we came up with. So if you look at the Danny Plan, one of the things that was really, really important to us is that we developed a document that didn't look administrative or legal or medical. We wanted to make sure that the document felt like a living document, like our loved one. They're not a piece of paper. They're not a legal document, our loved ones. They're a human being that has some nuance, some things that they need to be cared about. And so we wanted to give the feel of life, right? It's one of the reasons that the butterfly kind of represents our logo, represents life. And we also wanted to start, so hopefully it gives you that feel. And along with that is this intro statement. I am Danny. I am sweet and silly. My life is full of love. I'm nonverbal, but I have a lot to say. I've discovered a fullness of life through the love of family and friends, come into my world and experience life through my eyes. So that gives you the opportunity to, again, kind of build a really nice living document, something that really represents your loved one. The intro statement, I wanted to show you how we did this, kind of built it in a Mad Lib way, or if you remember doing Mad Libs when you were young, where you can kind of fill in the blanks, basically. I am, and there's drop downs for you to pick, or you can pick your own words. So it's not something that you have to spend quite a bit of time on. Usually within a few minutes, you can produce a nice intro statement for your loved one. Okay, so down here, you'll see a bunch of what we call tiles. Everything from about me, key people, medical and therapy, emergency, all the way down to communication and speech. And what you'll see here to the right of that is an add your category. We've built the Danny plan, so if we forgot anything, something unique about your loved one that you would like to add or you think is really important to have its own tile, you can go ahead and create a tile for your loved one, whatever it happens to be, and it probably takes about 30 seconds to do that. Underneath each of these main categories are quite a few subcategories. So under about me, you have most important things to know about me, my likes, my dislikes, my strengths. Under key people, you have family, caregivers, pets, friends, medical and therapy, medication, doctors, diagnosis, therapy, insurance, medical equipment, assistive technology. So I'm not going to run through every one of these. I think you get the point, but quite a few different categories on here. One thing, just like the main categories, in the subcategories, which will probably be added even more, I had a woman last week say to me, hey, I would love to add, do you guys have a category where I could put my daughter's goals down? And I said, you know what, we don't. That is an amazing idea. Why don't we go ahead and add that right away? So I went here, you go into add a category, you write down goals. I'm going to show you later, there's a way to do whether you want notifications or not. We're going to say no here. I'm going to save it. And now you have a category called goals. If I go into this entry, you'll see right here that it'll say in this section, please describe everything we need to know about Danny's goals. So really easily be able to create anything that you want, as many subcategories as you need to make it to build it to be as customized to your loved one as you would like. Okay, give you a quick example. I want you to see how we built the ability to add entries and how that works out here. So this is Danny's likes right here. And what we did is we gave you the ability to add information in the way that you like to add information. I'm a simple guy. I like to use bullets. I use this more often than not. You can go in here and I would type her likes in a bullet type fashion. You can add as many as you need to. You can easily delete them from an editing standpoint. You can also create a narrative. You can just tell a story or explain their likes if that's the way you would like to do it. The other thing you can do is you can do a numbered list. This is really important and a great feature for when you want to explain routines. Now, one of the beauties of the Danny plan is the Danny plan started out as this insurance policy. What if something happens to us and we're not around? What it's become is a living, breathing tool that our community can use not only for just the insurance policy, which some people are going to just use it for that, but also as a daily tool. So for those of us that we rotate through caregivers, right? And they constantly coming in, or new therapists or new doctors, it's a way where you can use it from a caregiver standpoint as like a training manual right at your fingertips. So from a standpoint of routines, a morning routine, a bedtime routine, for Danny, a menses routine, whatever it happens to be, you can use kind of the step-by-step. And here's an example here under routines. This is Danny's morning routine. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So again, if you do rotate through people, and generally we all will over the years, this is a really nice, easy way for them to get up to speed where you don't have to constantly be re-explaining everything, but they can actually use this right at their fingertips. Show you really quick here that this, not exactly, but pretty close to what it looks like from a mobile-friendly standpoint. This is a website that has, it is extremely mobile-friendly. So on the fly, someone could actually have this on their phone and pull up any information they need. And again, I use the example of Danny, and she likes to go to Starbucks every day. So someone new, she has a new caregiver in the community. They look up favorite restaurants. First thing you see here is Starbucks, and this is her actual order, a tall decaf iced Americano with almond milk. So she's a little high maintenance at times. But another example might just be that they need to get an emergency contact, but maybe they can't get a hold of one of us, so they can kind of quickly get to her real easily. Or they could grab emergency information, or a behavior situation where she's having a frustration or a meltdown, and they need to kind of quickly understand because they've never seen this before, right? Because they're new. How do a meltdown? And they need to kind of quickly understand because they've never seen this before. Right? What are some steps or things I can quickly do to kind of soothe her and get her back to a place of peace? So couple other things I'll show you real quick. Under medical and therapy, I mentioned notifications. So if we were to add an entry in medication, here's a quick example. Again, taking the thinking out of it, coming up with everything. Here's a quick example. But this down here, what we have is the ability to set notifications. So if for yourself, so Danny happens to take 7 different medications 4 times per day. It's a lot, and Debbie and I at times will kind of ask each other, did you give Danny her medication? So we've set up a little reminder for us, but more importantly are the caregivers that work with her, for them to be able to get reminders. And you can give them reminders a few different ways. I could select every day. We can email them a reminder, or more practically generally is text them a reminder of each, whatever specific medication they get at the exact time that you need them to get it. Now, keep in mind, while we have a good example here with medication, you can use them for anything throughout the site. So if you have a child that happens to have their own mobile phone and they're cognitively, maybe are a little higher functioning and they have their own phone, people have loved this concept just from an independence standpoint. If some people do take their own medications, but giving them that ability to set their own reminders, to have their own medications, or time to leave for work, depending on what level they're at, it might be time to brush your teeth. So you can set up notifications throughout the entire site. One of the other things I wanted to show you is that you have the ability to add pictures and documents. So here's a couple examples of where Debbie, my wife, actually put in here. Now, this is the dispenser we use, but also just taking a picture of the bottle so they can kind of zoom in on that and actually make sure they're giving the right medications and so on and so forth. Okay. All right, now let me touch a little bit more on the documentation here. So one of the things that Debbie and I always talked about is if we would have had the ability to not only save all the information about Danny in one tool, one where we didn't have to keep re-explaining everything, but something that we can continue to give to new caregivers and teachers and through transitions and employers and so on and so forth throughout her life, that would be an amazing tool for us. But the other thing we were talking about is all the documentation that we get from the time they're young to the time that continues throughout their life, right? And how often we've had to chase down documents, or where did I store this? Where did I leave this particular document? What if there was one centralized place for it? So we've created the ability to add documents. And as you can see, they're up here on the left. Here's a couple examples of what Debbie has put into Danny's Danny plan here. This is an example for IEP. In Michigan, we'll still go to school till she's 26. She's 23 now. But the other beautiful thing about this is we've given the ability from your email a copy of that IEP right over to whoever actually needs it. You can put multiple email addresses in separated by a comma. So real quick and easy, be able to kind of share the documentation you need if you had a new therapist, or again, transitioning to a new school, or so on and so forth. Here's a couple other examples, front and back of Danny need that as an example. So Debbie and I always talk about the fact that if we would have had this ability to store documentation when we were going through SSI or guardianship, it would have saved us a ton of time and frankly, a lot of stress. They were looking for a diagnosis, and frankly, Danny hadn't been diagnosed since she was 18 months. So we had to do a lot of chasing down to actually find a diagnosis for her as an example. But I think really, really powerful having the ability to store all your documentation in one spot and not chase it down. Okay, so again, from the power of the plan, I think one of the most powerful pieces is the ability to share the information with other stakeholders, right? People that care, whether it's a guardian or a caretaker or a teacher, or maybe even a doctor, so on and so forth, whoever you may want to share information with. There's 3 different ways you can share information. One is, and I'll show you in a minute, you can email out a PDF, and I'll show you how you can share only the information that you want to share from a security standpoint. You can print the information. So maybe you just have somebody who's working with Danny or your loved one for a day or so, and they're new, but they are going to be working with them or caring for them for the day, and you just want them to quickly be able to kind of look at sheets of paper or so on and so forth. You could print it. And the third way is, and this would go maybe for a guardian or a caretaker that's been with them for many years and you really trust them, you would invite them to actually join Danny's plan. Right. So again, I talked about this living, breathing document, right, where it's not just ours tucked away in a binder, but it's there, it's out there for people to understand Danny or your loved one, you know, that the people that work with her really understand her and have that documentation at their fingertips. So again, we'd invite you to join the plan. You'd get your own username and password, and we would share the information with you that we wanted you to have. So if you are a guardian, we would fill that information out, who the guardian is. In this case, a guardian generally is somebody you're going to trust, obviously. You're probably going to give them the ability to actually add, edit, and delete the information. And again, you may do this with a caregiver if you really, really trust them. Probably not going to do it with somebody new or so on and so forth. So you'd be really kind of picky about who you'd want to be able to add information. But sometimes caregivers spend as much or more time and know as much about your loved one as you do. So sometimes that's really helpful to be able to do that. So in the case of a guardian, you would give them add, edit, delete ability. You would check all the information. You would give them everything, and they would be invited to join the plan. For a caregiver, you may only want them to view the information, and you would give them quite a bit of information, but you're probably not going to give them their finances or legal, if they don't work, or then you're not going to give them employment, so on and so forth. You decide the information that you want to share with them. You can also get very, very granular. So from a finances standpoint, if I have a caregiver, I'd like actually to pay the bills, but I'm not going to give them financial accounts and so on and so forth. So you can get as granular as you want for each section, for what you would like to share with that individual. Okay, so that's sharing the plan. The other thing is printing the plan. Same thing as sharing. You're going to be able to do print profiles. You're only going to print the information you want to. You'll decide what information they have, keeping it very secure. And I'll give you a quick glimpse of what the PDF looks like once printed. I'm printing Danny's complete plan right here. It takes a second usually to download. So this is what it would look like if we decided to email a PDF to somebody right to their phone so they could just scroll through it, or print it out. This is what it would look like. We have the main categories in blue. The subcategories are here in bold, and each new main category starts fresh at the top of a new page, so it's really easy for you to find what you're looking for. The use of pictures, as you can see, I think is really, really helpful to make sure people really understand what they need to know. Okay. Couple other things I'd like to touch on real quick. From a security standpoint, really important that we built this to be really secure. It is in Amazon cloud, which is pretty much the biggest and one of the most secure clouds in the world. It is a totally encrypted site, which for those of you who aren't techie, means basically if anybody was ever to try to get in, all they would see is gibberish. And the last piece is you're required to sign up for two-step authentication. So just like your banking, you'll be getting a code to your phone or email if you'd like, and you'll have to type in a code to get in to keep your information secure. But security is of the utmost importance for us. I also tell people that if people are gun shy from a security standpoint, I tell them that one of the keys is you don't have to put the your most confidential things that you would be scared about having, out there on the site. What's helpful though is just to let people know where to go, right? So if under finances, you don't have to write account numbers if you don't want to, but if you can tell people where the finances are, where they're located, and tell them who to contact, give them the name of the attorney or the accountant or the financial advisor or a friend, whoever understands those things. The key is we don't want people having to chase things down, right? It can be really, really stressful for caretakers. And you don't want that either. You want to make it easy for everybody to be able to access things. So from a standpoint of the cost and whatnot, how this works, it is a subscription-based business. It is $99 a year. For that $99 a year, you actually get two plans. So if you have two, there's plenty of people out there who have two people with special needs. It's also being used quite a bit for elder care. So if you have a mother or a father that's aging or declining or whatnot, it's another good use for it if you'd like to do that. Trying to think if I'm missing anything. I don't think I am at this point. I guess I'll turn it over to you, Melissa and ask you if there's been any questions that I can answer.
Okay, perfect. Hold on one second. So let's see, I'm gonna go back there because we have a few questions and Debbie's been so great answering them as well. So one of the things was, is there a limit on how many pages and documents can be added? My daughter has extensive medical records from age 3. She is 29.
Yeah, there is no limit on how many documents can be added, or at least we believe no one can get to the limit because it's quite a few. Our recommendation is to, for you to be really, allow yourself to, we call it, Debbie coined, to clean out your closet a little bit though, and make sure that, to make it easy on you because it can be obviously, there's a little heavy lift, right? Getting the information in there. So make sure you clean out your closet and kind of put in there what you really think is necessary. But no, there shouldn't be any issues. But just to make it easy for you, think about it that way if you can. So some
Is
people have a hard time throwing stuff out. But
Yes, and is there a limit to how many people can access the page or the plan?
there isn't. You can share with as many people, and there's no additional cost. So the cost is in the plan for the individual. So if you had it, that's what it is. You can share with as many stakeholders as you would like.
Okay, great. So we talked a little bit about security. So the other question was, I know for Maryland, right, we have DDA, which is the Developmental Disability Administration. And so that is where a lot of our members and participants get services. And so one of the questions is, would this cost be covered under self-directed services or DDA? And is that something that you can put in basically their DDA plan? Have you had that in the past?
Yeah, right now we don't have any relationship or with DDA. I think that, and again, we're a fairly new organization. And what I can tell you is that there's a lot of organizations that are really interested in having the Danny Plan eventually covered through some other path, through Medicare or Medicaid or some organizations. And there are some that are subsidizing as well. We have quite a few organizations that are looking to subsidize either the first year or ongoing. It kind of depends. But right now we don't have that relationship. But, one of my goals was to, and I understand there is a cost to it and whatnot, was to make it as economical for people as possible. Our mission is to get people to have a plan because we think it's so important. So we're doing our best. Yeah.
Okay, great. And so another question we have is there a way to back up the data?
Well, the data is backed up from our standpoint every 13 minutes. So, you theoretically, unless the only thing you might, if you were in the middle of making an entry, it's possible you could lose the data, but it's backed up quite often. Yeah.
Okay, great. And another question was, do you have families using this or is this just going live?
Oh, no. We have quite a few families using it. Absolutely. We've had, the enthusiasm for it. And again, I tend to be pretty humble about it. And it's hard to be with this only because the enthusiasm for it has been outstanding. People just feel like it's been an amazing need to it. And we had a group yesterday that a bunch signed up together as friends, and they were meeting to kind of keep themselves going and get going and hold themselves accountable to getting it done. But we have plenty of people using them. I think our biggest challenge, quite honestly, is just getting people to start, right? So I have plenty of people who've signed up, they start, and then they just kind of slow down because no one loves the idea of filling out paperwork. Generally, it's the starting that get people motivated and excited about it, and so on and so forth. But that's really been, the only real challenge. Lots of people have signed up, and And it's, I've become really pushy on saying to people, if you are thinking, wow, this is a really useful tool, right? And again, I'm a big believer in just have a plan. I tell everybody that. If you don't want to use the Danny plan, just make sure you have a plan. My only thing about using what I say is the only thing about using a document is unless you are very organized and very anal, there's a good chance that you will 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, you'll be redoing it constantly. It's not easily updatable. With this, it's just really easy to edit. Once you kind of put all the information in over a few weeks time, you'll just be tweaking it. We'll be giving you reminders. It'll be a living tool. It won't get tucked away anymore. So hopefully that answers your question. I know I went on a little.
Yes. So another question we had was what is the website to sign up on, and if you can repeat the cost for the website.
Yeah, so if you go to dannyplan.com, www.danny, DANIPLAN.com, and you go to, it'll say sign up for free. You have a choice. You can buy right then, or you can do a 21-day free trial. So that's up to you. That'll take you to kind of the sign up path. What was the second question, Melissa? I'm sorry. Oh, the cost. So the cost is $99 a year. For PCR, we've created a promo code. So if you're interested, write this down. It's PCR 2425, which basically gives you 25% off the first year. That's usually good for about 7 days or so. So what I generally recommend, again, is sign up. You can, if you're unsure, you could sign up for the 21 days, but get the code in there so you can get the discount, and give it a try. Just make sure you kind of do it now is my biggest thing, because human nature is that if you don't do it, you'll probably kind of push it and you'll find yourself 6 months from now still haven't done it. So one of myself and Debbie, who's my wife, who's rather kind of in charge of helping people onboard, we're really motivated and kind of getting people going if they want to do it. And Debbie's in charge of onboarding. You'll actually get a email when once you sign up, you'll get an email that says, would you like to sign up for onboarding? She'll meet with you for 45 minutes, get you started, give you some tips and tricks, and give you a nice, easy path to getting the Danny plan completed.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that was one of the questions, was about the help and support once they sign up, and then ongoing help and support once it's signed up. So if for any reason during the year they need help, is there a contact or specific person they go to?
Absolutely. If you come right down here to email support, we will get back to you absolutely, generally within a few hours time. You'll be gotten back to. I built my business. I know Melissa talked a little bit about my other business, and that I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. We've won a lot of awards for best places to work and so on and so forth. And that's really been built on the back of building an amazing culture with being fanatical about customer experience. And I'm excited to be and now in this kind of space of where I'm working with people that really understand me. So it's been really gratifying that way. But yeah, I intend to make sure that everybody is helped, whether it's a technical issue or a customer issue or any question you have, really quickly.
So one other question was for families with two loved ones with special needs, how do you do two plans? So do you have to do a different email, or how does that work?
Yeah, what you'll find if you come right over here to the right, you'll see that you'll just kind of rotate to the second plan here. So this is my neurotypical daughter, Alex, which Debbie included here she takes a few medications and she happens to be abroad right now. So she put her copy of her passport in there. enter insurance card, and so on and so forth. But you'll automatically have two plans that you can kind of navigate back and forth to right up here on the right.
Okay, great. So they put the website in. Okay, so I'm just going to say we have someone that wrote something. My son has to submit medical bills as well as his pay stubs for two jobs. It is pretty complicated to maintain his eligibility with yearly review for subsides from the employers. Subsides from the employers as well as keeping track of the SGA and make sure that after the IRWE deduction. One of my biggest fears for my son is how someone will know how to do all this and keep on top of the laws that changed in his regard. I think they were just sharing, but this is an example of, I think that what the plan will really do and help for a lot of our families.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of complicated things, and that's why I think that you want to make it as easy as possible. Some of those things may take a little bit of time to give good instructions, again, on either how to do it or who to call, right, to take care of certain things for you, and give them like some guidance. Like these are a couple great resources for you to reach out to get these things done and make sure that they have the coverage and getting the funds that they need and so on and so forth. So again, it's all about that. It's decreasing our personal anxiety because we want to make sure that that information is organized, easy to find, easy to access data, as well as documents.
So we do have I know some of our families are not computer savvy, and so it can come off as, pretty intimidating. But how does it work with it? Because I think there were questions too about, is Danny's plan an application? And you were saying, if I'm correct, that it's not, but you can use it as an app?
Yeah, so it's very mobile friendly. Debbie shows people how to actually put an icon right on. A lot of people have iPhones right on their iPhone. You wouldn't even know you're not using an app, basically, but it's a mobile friendly tool. From people who aren't technical, I will tell you this is a very, very intuitive tool. We've made it super simple. I think that after an onboarding with Debbie, you probably find it's pretty easy. And if you do need some extra help, we could probably figure that out for you too.
Okay, perfect. And then another question. If you stop subscribing, what happens to the info? Can you access it but not update it, or do you lose it?
Yeah, if you decide not to subscribe, your info stays. We don't have any access to it. If you eventually decide to resubscribe, you'll have access to your info again. If you can always print it, if you would like, that's no problem. But yeah, you can always re-engage 3, 4, 5 years if you decided you wanted to start the Danny plan again, you could. Absolutely.
Okay, great. So, does anybody have any more questions? We also have a little bit of time that sometimes if anybody wants to ask a question, you can raise your hand and I can actually let you talk. If anybody would like to do that, just please let me know. Can you link to DocuBank or any other places?
I'm not familiar what DocuBank is. Is it, can you give me a little bit more on that? Is it
Hold on. Mark, can you confirm a little bit more information about DocuBank? All right, when we wait for him, one of the questions, okay, so um, do you have a special needs trust and have you linked to it or to an ABLE account? So ABLE accounts are really big in Maryland.
Yeah, we don't. So I do have a special needs trust, which I'm not sure if we've uploaded yet, but we will be uploading it into here. Right now, it doesn't have any outside kind of connections with Enable account or those type of things. I do believe, we have a really big roadmap, meaning we've had so many amazing ideas. And my goal with the Danny Plan is to continue to evolve this product in a way that helps our community, right? In as many ways as we can. The Danny Plan being a resource that helps you in so many different ways. A couple examples of that is a couple of organizations said it'd be great to have a shared calendar in here. So when you have multiple people taking care of one person, everybody can kind of see what they're doing, right? The other thing that we are working on is a journal, where a daily journal where a caregiver can say, hey, Danny took her medication today. She had a really good day. This is what she ate, so on and so forth, and just give an update, whether we're local or maybe we're on vacation, right? And so on and so forth. So ability to kind of do it back and forth. My point being is that some of the things that you're talking about have been brought up before, and I do think over time we'll continue to evolve the product and keep adding these solutions. So any ideas that you have, I'm going to make sure you have my email. Please let me know on what would be really helpful for us to add to the Danny Plan for this community. And the way it kind of works, pecking order, is when we hear something multiple times, because there's a huge list, those kind of rise to the top, the things that we hear the most that people are looking for. So, but I appreciate all these different ideas.
Okay, great. So we have back to the DocuBank, which it holds medical and legal documents like HIPAA or power of attorney. So, because that was another thing, one of the questions was, can you attach like links to it, like different websites?
Yeah, great question. That's come up a lot in the last few days. It's rising to the top of the roadmap. We'll probably have that within the next, I'm hoping within the next 30 days, you'll be able to add links. One of the things that's come up a lot, besides some of the things you're talking about, is people wanted to do video. And what we were talking about is people being able to just add video links. So it wouldn't necessarily be stored here, but they'd be able to get right to the video or their favorite music or some of the things that you're talking about as well. So I don't know if that answered totally, though, all of the questions. So I think I answered the link question. That's coming. But was there anything else from a HIPAA standpoint that I missed there?
Um, I don't think so. I think it was more of just explaining what DocuBank was. Okay, so we also wanted to see, there was somebody that wanted to see if you could show like some other entries, like the 2 entries in food and diets. It says EG does 10 entries in key people, mean that there are 10 key people and each one has a document of his or her own. So the question is does everybody, like every entry is a whole new document, or it's just like a piece of the document?
Yeah, each entry is just a piece of the document, basically.
Okay.
And then again, the PDF, if you're using it on your computer or your phone, obviously you're just going to kind of navigate to the sections that you want to see, right? Whether it's most important things to know about me, and again, or it's under routines. Here's a few different routines: the morning routine, toileting routine, dressing routine. So each entry is kind of separated. But if you were to print or send the PDF, you'd see everything kind of together there.
Okay, great. So then one of the other questions was, how often is the software updated? I know that for some there's updates all the time. So how often is it updated and when do you have to update it?
Yeah, you wouldn't notice any updates. So it's not like this wouldn't be like on your having an Apple where they'll ask you to update or whatnot. All the updates will be done in the back. Generally, they'll be done when you're not using the product. And the next thing you know, you'll have some new functions basically that you can use. And again, it's being updated constantly to now again, some things are just tweaks, so people wouldn't even notice. There might be some bigger updates, and generally we'll do that like once a month, kind of later at night or something like that. Hopefully that answers.
Okay, great. Yeah. So another question is, do you have self-advocates who can access some of these plans themselves?
Self-advocates.
So,
Yeah, can you
so
explain?
basically the individual themselves would create a plan. If you have,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, for sure. In fact, Debbie, I don't know if she's on right now or not, but I think she is. I don't know. Are you on, Deb? I don't want to call her out because I know her camera's off right now. She might be
No,
dealing with.
I'm on. I just, Danny's here and she's a little busy, so I turned off the camera and the volume so you guys didn't
I
hear.
just thought maybe you could tell the story about Carly, the you onboarded the other day. They were asking about if people kind of have built their own plans basically for
Yeah,
themselves.
absolutely. So I was working with a woman yesterday, or a couple weeks ago, her name's Debbie, and Debbie and I did some of the, more technical stuff. And she said, I'd really like my daughter to be involved in her planning. And so I set up an onboarding session with her. And of all the onboarding sessions I've done, it was my most favorite because she was advocating for herself. And under the About Me section, when we were filling it out, and she was saying what her strengths were, she was bright-eyed and her smile was huge. And it was my favorite part of the entire session because she was able to participate. So I do think, this plan, in addition to helping parents, it also really empowers the special needs individual if they're capable to become part of the planning as well. And I think Joel mentioned earlier about notifications. Did you mention notifications, Joel?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Oh, and you can even send them notifications to their phone. For example, if it's time to go to work or if it's, time to get the bus in the morning, whatever it is, you can empower them, and make them very much a part of the plan as well.
Actually, I had somebody the other day tell me that that they don't like to hear from their parents. They don't want to do anything their parents tell them to do. But she thought getting the notifications on their phone would have them just do what they were supposed to do without being told what to do. So I thought that was kind of cool and interesting.
Yeah, I like that too.
Now, I know this was a lot of information, so for anyone who might be a little bit lost or, um, we're going to have this recording up so that way they can go back, but is there information directly on your website where they can get more information, or is there specific contacts that maybe we can put in the chat so that way they can reach out to you personally?
Absolutely, yeah. Deb, do you want to put my email in the chat real quick? Yeah, I think first of all, I do one-on-ones with parents all the time, and I love doing them. So please reach out to me if you want to meet one-on-one. It lets me get to know people, their loved one, and I'm happy to kind of answer specific questions. So please reach out to me. We can definitely put time on the calendar. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you just have a few, you can email me and I can email you back. We don't have to necessarily meet, but absolutely happy to connect with anybody. Obviously, the website gives a lot of information as well. I think that Melissa also sent out a couple things. There's you just got a long demo, but there's a promo video on there. There's a news story. There's some other things also.
Okay, great. So I just want to say, I'm going to save the chat and share it with you, Joel and Debbie, but people, a lot of attendees, which honestly, I think this is the most we've had. We had up to 70 people on, which is great. And everybody has just been so excited and thankful for this document because especially, our transition times families, we've been doing this for years. And I know that the number one thing is what are they going to, what is their loved one going to do when they're gone? It's the biggest fear that they have. And so I know that this is something where everybody wants to do, but this is kind of, you did, the hard work. And so now they can, kind of use this as a template. So thank you so much. And then just a reminder, we will have this up as a recording on by Friday. So if you have any questions, I will also send out the codes and the emails as well. So that way, if anybody missed it, we can make sure that you get that information as well.
Hey, Melissa, do you mind if I add one more quick thing?
Of course, yes.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say how grateful I am. This has been really fulfilling to, participate in this. I love being surrounded by people that I feel like are in my community. Debbie and I love when people sign up for the Danny Plan community because we have a really big vision that it becomes a tool for all of us. And we have a bigger vision that eventually we could even, when there's enough people on here, we can be able to communicate with each other, even anonymously, and ask questions and be able to query different things and so on and so forth. There might be an open forum, but be able to really connect with lots of different people and make us feel together. Also be kind of powerful from a numbers, right? There's all these siloed organizations out there all over the country, but if we had one where we were all kind of together, I think it'd be really powerful. So we'd certainly be grateful and excited. I would again put the push. If you do think you're going to do it, sign up. Just get off and go ahead and sign up because the hardest part is just getting started. Otherwise, we're human nature is we put it way back on our to-do list, and it's important. And I think it bodes to the dignity and respect that our loved ones really deserve and the caretakers. My other thing I just want to say is, please give me, I'd love to get your feedback. You should have my email, joelp@dannyplan.com. Right after this or tomorrow, whenever you want. I'd love to get your feedback on it. You guys, when I say you guys, our community are the people that are going to help us build this and, make something that's really helpful for you. So I'd love to hear from you, whether it's I love everything about it, or there's a few things that I'd like to change, or these are my concerns, whatever it happens to be. It's just super helpful for any feedback that you can give me. And I'd be really grateful if you wouldn't mind reaching out and giving me your feedback. And that's really all I want to say. Thanks PCR again. And
If I just have a moment really quickly too, Joel.
Is it
Yes.
okay? Okay,
Yeah.
go.
Are you over time? I just want to say I saw up here somewhere, do we charge for these one-on-one meetings? We do not. It's part of the Danny Plan, and I've gotten really good at helping people. So Joel just showed you the simplicity of the Danny Plan. You're welcome to try it on your own, but I love to help people get onboarded. It's part of what I love to do. I'm a teacher by nature, and I would love to set up a session with any of you, get you started, give you some tips and tricks, set up a cadence so that you do some, every week until you complete your plan. I'm incredibly patient, not always with my children, but I am with the people who I help onboard. And I would love to help you guys get started, and I'm available. And after you sign up, my Calendly link is in an automated email that'll come to you, and you can sign up as quickly as you want, and we can get you started. So I just wanted to say that too.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Joel and Debbie. This is amazing. I know people have been saying that they're signing up right now, so that's a good start. But I just want to thank everyone for coming. Please join us on Wednesday, April 24th from 7 to 8 to learn about the Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities program. This is transportation. The webinar will be presented by Denise Israel, Program Specialist, Enhanced Mobility and Customer Relations section from the Division of Transit Services, Department of Transportation. So we know that transportation is a big topic, so please come to hear that. And again, thank you so much, Joel and Debbie.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you so much,
All
everybody.
right,
Really
take
grateful.
care.